Two people can earn the exact same paycheck and end up living two completely different lives. One of them is broke by the 20th of every month, scrambling to cover rent. The other quietly builds a fortune without anyone around them ever noticing. The difference is not talent. It is not luck. It is not even income. The real gap comes down to 6 specific moments where your own mind tries to sabotage you. Miss even one of these tests, and the wealth you spent years building can vanish in a single afternoon. Stick around, because test number 3 is the one that quietly wipes out more people than any market crash ever could. And test 6 will completely change how you think about looking rich. The first $1,000. Everyone starts somewhere, and for most people that starting point is the first $1,000 they manage to save. It does not sound impressive. It will not buy you a nice car or a fancy vacation. But this small pile of cash is the difference between a rough month and a full-blown crisis. Layoffs happen without warning. Cars break down at the worst possible time. Rent goes up overnight with barely any notice. Without this cushion, a single bad week can push someone straight into high-interest debt that takes years to fully escape. The temptation at this stage is brutal. A new phone comes out. Friends are upgrading their setups and posting about it constantly. Credit card companies practically beg you to spend money you do not actually have. The moment you trade that safety net for a depreciating gadget, you have handed your own security away for something that loses value the second you open the box. This test is not really about the money itself. It is about proving to yourself that you can say no to comfort today in exchange for protection tomorrow. Anyone who can build that habit early has already outpaced most of their peers before the real race even begins. But saving the first 1,000 is nothing compared to what happens once you hit 5 figures. That is where the real trap gets set, and most people never see it coming. The $10,000 trap. $10,000 sitting in the bank feels like a genuine turning point. For the first time, you feel like you have actually made it. And that feeling right there is exactly what gets exploited. This is the stage where lifestyle creep sneaks in, disguised as a well-earned reward. A better car, a bigger apartment, nicer everything all at once. The math never gets mentioned out loud, though. A financed vehicle alone can quietly eat thousands of dollars a year once you add up the payments, the insurance, the gas, and the maintenance. Meanwhile, that same $10,000 sitting in a high-yield savings account or a simple low-cost index fund keeps working for you every single day without you lifting a finger. The people who actually win at this stage are not the ones with the flashiest lifestyle rolling through the neighborhood. They are the quiet ones who let their money keep multiplying while their spending barely moves at all. This test is about seeing straight through the story that money is meant to be shown off, to impress strangers online. The moment you understand that quiet compounding beats loud spending, every single time you unlock a completely different financial trajectory for the rest of your life. Now here is where things get genuinely dangerous, because the next stage is where people convince themselves they are finally ready to gamble everything away. The $50,000 patience test. Once savings pass $50,000, a strange and unexpected kind of anxiety tends to creep in. Suddenly that number does not feel like enough anymore, even though it took years to build. Inflation headlines get louder every single week. Social media is flooded with people flexing crypto gains and stock picks that supposedly doubled overnight. The fear of missing out becomes almost unbearable at this stage. This is exactly the emotional state that reckless trading platforms and so-called guru courses are built from the ground up to target. Chasing quick wins with a modest amount of savings is one of the fastest ways to wipe out years of disciplined saving in a single reckless afternoon. The smarter move at this stage is borrowing on purpose, and that is a hard pill to swallow. Spread the money out. Keep a solid chunk safe and easily accessible. Put a portion into steady long-term investments that do not require constant attention. Resist the urge to swing for the fences, chasing a headline you saw online. This test has nothing to do with intelligence and everything to do with patience under pressure. The people who protect their principle instead of chasing a jackpot are the ones still standing 5 years later, while the gamblers around them are starting completely over from zero. If you think the tests get easier from here, you are dead wrong, because the next one involves the people closest to you. Quick recap before we continue. Real quick before moving forward, because this part matters. The first $1,000 tests your self-control. The $10,000 mark tests whether you can see through flashy spending. The $50,000 stage tests your patience when everyone around you seems to be getting rich overnight. If you have made it this far in the video without skipping ahead, you clearly care about getting this right. So stay with me, because the next 3 tests are where the real money gets lost. The $100,000 passive income shift. Somewhere around the $100,000 mark, something genuinely shifts. A properly diversified mix of savings and investments can finally start generating real passive income every single month without extra work. This is the moment a paycheck stops being the only lifeline keeping the lights on. But right as this financial cushion grows, the social pressure surrounding it grows right along with it. Relatives who never called in years suddenly need a loan for an emergency that somehow always happens at the worst time. Old friends pitch business ideas that always seem to need your money and never actually need your time or effort. Saying yes out of guilt or obligation has drained more nest eggs than any recession in history ever has. This test has nothing to do with spreadsheets or interest rates. It is entirely about having the backbone to say no, even when someone you genuinely love is the one asking. Protecting what you built is not selfish behavior. It is honestly the only way any of the earlier tests actually end up meaning something. The people who pass this stage learn early to separate love from lending money. And once you clear this hurdle, the stakes only get higher, because bigger money starts attracting bigger threats. The $500,000 discipline test. Crossing the $500,000 mark puts someone ahead of the overwhelming majority of people around them financially. Normal market ups and downs stop being scary or stressful at this point in the journey. What actually threatens this level of wealth is far more personal than any stock chart. Divorces without any legal protection in place beforehand can split a lifetime of saving directly in half within a matter of months. Slick so-called exclusive investment opportunities pitched by smooth-talking strangers promise insider access and deliver absolutely nothing but painful losses. This test is fundamentally about humility. Protecting assets before a relationship gets legally complicated is not pessimism at all. It is simple responsibility. Walking away from any opportunity that promises guaranteed high returns with zero risk is not being overly cautious. It is basic self-preservation, because that kind of guarantee never actually exists anywhere. The people who make it through this stage stay grounded no matter how big the number in their account eventually gets. And that grounded mindset becomes even more critical at the final and most demanding test of them all. The $1,000,000 discretion test. Once wealth crosses well into seven figures, the entire game changes completely and permanently. Buying things stops being satisfying the way it used to feel. What replaces that fading thrill is a much darker and quieter set of risks. Scammers study social media posts looking for even the smallest signs of money to design the perfect personalized con. Distant relatives resurface with increasingly creative reasons why they urgently need immediate help right now. Even trusted friends can unknowingly pull someone into serious legal trouble tied to a shared investment gone badly wrong. At this level, the smartest possible move is staying quiet about it. Keeping wealth spread carefully across multiple protected accounts instead of one obvious place. Avoiding the constant temptation to broadcast success to the entire world for validation. The wealthiest people you will genuinely never hear about are wealthy precisely because they never announced it in the first place. This final test is not about earning even more money at all. It is entirely about having the wisdom to protect what took an entire lifetime to build brick by brick. So here is the real question worth sitting with for a moment. Financial freedom was never really about hitting one magic number sitting quietly in a bank account. It was always about surviving 6 very human moments specifically designed to trip you up along the way. Which one of these 6 tests do you honestly think would be the hardest for you personally to pass? Drop your honest answer down in the comments right now, because the people who openly admit their weak spot are the exact same people who actually fix it before it ends up costing them absolutely everything they worked so hard to build.